If you're not in love with something, you can't truly be dialed in. That's why our goal isn't just to talk about health, it's to inspire you to fall in love with it. When you fall in love with optimizing your health, everything changes. You start to see food not just as fuel, but as a tool. You look at movement not as a chore, but as a privilege. You begin to feel joy in every small step forward, knowing that your results are a reflection of your passion and interest. So here's our challenge to you. Find that love. Get curious about your health. Experiment, learn, grow. Make it personal, because when you're truly invested, when health becomes your passion, the results will show. Coming at you from Kaji Vision Podcast Studios in Stamford, Connecticut. I like how I said podcast studios. It sounds even more enhanced than just studios. Coming at you from Kaji Vision Podcast Studios in Stamford, Connecticut. Welcome to the Dialed In Podcast, episode 5. Wow. Clap it up. Clap it up. I need everyone clapping it up. I might even want an applause, maybe even a band in the background. What do you think?
I do have that stuff if you ever want it.
No, I want it in. People just heard it.
You'll add it in. You'll get your soundboard. I'm going to get you a soundboard.
So I can just start punching buttons.
I'm going to get you a soundboard to have right there. You have a field day with it.
People say I love punching buttons.
Yeah.
I just don't like pushing other people's buttons.
Yeah, just punch your own buttons.
But episode 5, just a little bit more magic than normal.
I agree.
Because we released it. We're getting that feedback. We're getting that feedback loop.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
People are loving our chemistry, my friend.
Yeah, they're liking the content. They're engaging with the content.
I think it's appropriate to like start each show with a segment called Catching the Buzz. Mm-hmm. So I want to hear like you shout out some people in your life that reached out to you that have caught the buzz. I know I wrote down a couple people for this episode. Last episode I mentioned it. Just kind of keep that camaraderie going. Mm-hmm. Anybody that caught the buzz in your world this week?
I mean, a lot of people in my family, that are close to me, they know that I do this, but I think they're really happy to see that we're talking about this. It's not just me anymore. I'm doing it with someone I've spent a lot of time with, and, we're putting it up on a platform. We're really like expressing the lifestyle that we're living. I've had physical therapists that I know, people back from, my bachelor's and master's program who I haven't spoken to in a while, reach out to me and say, it's really cool what you're doing.
You could actually name them on the pod if you want. I don't
want to give any. I can give names. Shout out to Pam, physical therapist.
Pammy.
Yeah.
Pammy.
I used to go to her a lot. She used to do some dry needling on me. Met her at Lifetime. She's an awesome person. She's very educated. She's going beyond, just trying to wait for people to be broken, trying to help people, fix them. Shout out to my boy Joe, who I did my fellowship with.
Joe.
Yep, in my master's program at Merrimack. We spent a lot of time together during my master's program because he was a year older than me. My experience there was we did exercise programs for older adults with chronic disease, so we got to see a lot of that population, people towards the end of, in the later parts of their journey with health. Mm-hmm. And there was this beautiful facility by our school, YMCA. Some woman donated millions and millions of dollars to this YMCA. So it was beautiful, and they made this brand new exercise facility for older adults with, chronic disease. So we spent a lot of time sitting in a room with each other, bouncing ideas off of one another with health, nutrition, and taking that and trying to, help people that aren't athletes. So that was really cool to talk to him about this stuff again. And yeah, just a lot of my family, my wife is excited that you and me are talking about this stuff because now I don't have to chew her ear.
Right.
Yeah, because I've been doing that for 11 years now with her. So.
I saw her post that on her story. I've been listening to Mark for 10 years. I'm glad you guys get to all hear it now.
So, But yeah, it's been good. A lot of people have been really happy that we're doing this, and they're excited for more. So,
and we're only one episode in, so it's nice to hear that feedback after just one. Shout out to my friend Marcus, who shot me a text last week. My cousin Carolyn Tully, thank you so much. Our boy Mike Evans is dialed in. Anthony Del Vecchio, mutual friend, he's getting inspired by us. And got to give a shout out to Chris V from the Crown Refs community, who, when we launched the pod, I just had a intuition that he was really going to gravitate to it, and he expressed like his excitement for it. And I was like, humbly speaking, bro, I'm excited for you because I know you're going to take this info and run with it. And day one of the podcast, he texts me, what an incredible listen. But then he's like, I want to work out with you and Mark. He's like, I'm ready to dial in. He goes, I'm eating clean now. Like, so it's just nice to hear those change, those shifts, like those moments when someone turns that switch.
I think it's really cool too, with Chris. I spend a lot of time with young athletes, and I tell their parents, I was a young athlete, and I did always care about this stuff, but I didn't. It took me until I got to college to really start like leaning into this type of stuff. And I always say to parents, I wish I had someone like me mentoring me in health at 15, 16, 17, 18 years old. So that way, by the time you are finished college, you've been spending 4+ years really, being healthy and not waiting till you're 25, not waiting till you're 30, not waiting till you're 34. So that's the best feeling in the world, dude, when you have someone who's 21, 22, who you see a fire under their butt to want to surround themselves around someone like you and me that, we're living our lifestyle in a certain way. That's really enlightening to see.
I get excited too because I feel like I work with a lot of younger, people in their 20s, and I feel like if you can expose them to the information that a 40-year-old, like I'm 45, if you can learn some of the things that I'm learning now at your age, you're just so ahead of the game. Yeah. So I'm always impressed. Like he came into the gym and I don't know what he was thinking, if we were going to do like bench press, or he was asking me like, what are we working out tomorrow? I'm like, Mark probably has something different for you. It's your first time in the matrix, so to speak. But it's just the non-traditional, exercises of movement training. And I would actually like to talk a little bit more about fitness today too, because I know we've kind of really hammered home the clean eating lifestyle, but we kind of haven't touched too much on fitness. And I know huge part of my transformation has been the tenacity that I feel like I'm showing in the gym. So I definitely want to touch more on that later this episode.
Let's do it.
And I know you just spoke about your wife. We got to just mention that our wives got together. Your wife owns a spa. Yeah. And I bought my wife a facial for Christmas. I bought it for her so she can get pampered and enjoy it, of course. But I wanted to pair the wives together for some positive podcast energy,
Cassandra has a skin spa. It's awesome. I have the best skincare routine in all of Westchester. I have a little like cheat code at home. I have all the best stuff, the best education on how to keep my skin nice and healthy. So it's awesome. She's always fighting with me to come in and do different like services like micro needling on the face, which I think is the best. And I'm always like fighting her off because I'm a baby when it comes to people touching my face and my skin.
Can we shout it out?
Yeah, please. Shout out the location.
I need to know.
Shout out Skin Deep Aesthetics. She's located in Eastchester. It's a very private setting. It's the best spa skincare service you will ever receive. She's outstanding at what she does.
Boom. Why did I think it was in Irvington?
Irvington. It is not in Irvington.
You told me it was in Irvington.
I've never used the word Irvington in our entire relationship.
You've used Eastchester?
Yeah. It's like Tuckahoe, Eastchester. Yeah.
It's just a big incorrect call on my part. Yeah. I was 100% it was in Irvington.
It's right down the block. It's in Irvington.
Yeah.
It's right down the street. I mean, it's not that far, but still. Yeah.
And I think it's important to, back to our chemistry. I think we got to shout out Fouls and Trolls. Yeah. Because Fouls and Trolls, for anyone who doesn't know, is a content series that me and Mark started on Crown Refs. It was our first time working together. And I got to be honest, as a content creator, it was like the most fun content I'd ever made. It was a lot different than just breaking down the X's and O's of officiating. It was more a light-hearted, comedic, content. But something that really stood out was like, wow, me and this guy got some real chemistry. Like, why this interaction? Like I said, I've been a solo artist through this content for a while. So to have like a partner really reinvigorated a lot of things. And I just think now we're focused on something more important, like helping the listener find a complete transformation, not just responding to TikTok comments. Yep. So like we're taking our energy for better use now, but we still want to share that warm love and just fun, entertaining delivery like in Fouls and Trolls. So shout out to Fouls and Trolls.
And shout out to you. For a while, you've been punching my buttons on, getting on camera and doing content and stop waiting for the perfect moment. And that was the first time we did one or two. And it just got my foot in the door with doing it. It was just kind of like oh, look, it is possible to just make some content, be on camera. And it doesn't have to, be a perfect message of health or whatever it is that we're talking about. So, I wouldn't be doing what we're doing right now if you didn't plant that seed in my head, with that first little, bit that we did with each other. Yeah. So
it was a building block for what we have today.
You are changing the trajectory of my life.
Vice versa.
Yep. All right.
It's vice versa. And looking at those old Fouls and Trolls videos, boy, my face was bloated.
You and me are
totally inflamed.
You and me are doing Shaolin style martial arts with each other, hitting each other. But when we're hitting each other, we're giving each other new things to work on with one another. Mm-hmm. That's what we're doing.
We're definitely challenging each other in areas of our own lives that we need to step up and improve in. So it's nice to hold each other accountable there and be growing together with our relationship. And that's what we want for the listener, to be able to all grow together, dial it all in together. Mm-hmm. Before we, move on, just give me like some more of your goals for this show.
For this show?
Yes.
I'll tell you one of my main goals for this show. We've been putting content up.
I've been putting content up.
Yes.
I'm just kidding. You're about to get on it.
He's right. This is my content that I'm about to speak on right now. So
Claudio's pointing to the camera. What is that? You could tell me. What was that?
I wanted him to talk into the camera.
Oh, he wants you to talk into the camera. Let it rock. Let it go. Let it keep it rolling.
Put me up.
Put me on camera one. So Paul's been doing an outstanding job at summarizing the first episode that we made. We have more coming out. And a lot of these clips are, a short window into what we're talking about in the podcast. So we've gotten a lot of, especially me, a lot of feedback. And I've explained this to Paul. We're stepping into territory, talking about health, nutrition, what is a positive impact on your life depending on the food you consume, how you're exercising, how you're looking into a new way of your lifestyle. So I've started to experience what I've had to experience in my education in college, which is when talking about this stuff, you have to really dive into science, read research, wait to get a consensus on what actually helps us, what actually doesn't. Can we claim that X, Y, and Z, maybe, taking a vitamin B supplement is going to be beneficial to you? And along this process of us posting this content, you get a lot of feedback on people who are educated in this field of science. And I've been engaging in conversations of having to defend a little bit of, me and Paul talking about our content, what we're posting, whether it was us talking about cellulose, whether it was us talking about seed oils. And one of the conversations that came up, Paul, was that when you start looking into the science of, if we look at research, can we find that there's actually any negative effect on our health markers from consuming seed oil in general, right? Now, when you look into it, there's not really anything concrete there yet. And I was getting caught up in that because the person that was talking about this with me is right. But for a quick second, I forgot, by having this conversation, what I've been doing for the past 8 years with people. And it reminded me why you and me are here doing what we're doing. We are trying to promote, in any way, shape, or form. I see people go to physical therapy. I see people go to cardiology to get their heart checked, right? And a lot of these professionals that are seeing these people that we're speaking to, they're seeing them at the end of their journey. It is already late. They already have things going on. And I'm hearing a lot of people, they're almost scared to potentially be wrong at maybe promoting don't eat seed oils, right? Because they want to be so perfectly right with, oh, well, it's not really the seed oils that's the problem, so you don't have to worry about it. That's not what we're promoting here. I'm trying to, when that person goes to the cardiologist or the physical therapist and they're going to that professional, and that professional has no idea that the person who's doing their heart exam, and they have a 90% block in their artery, they're just seeing that end result. They have no idea what that person has been doing for the past 1 year, 3 years, 5 years, and 10 years. How have they been eating? Did they live a lifestyle earlier in their life? Maybe they were consuming a lot of alcohol, consuming a lot of drugs, maybe some, other social environment factors. Maybe they were living in a house and they were surrounded by cigarettes their whole life. So the audience that we are speaking to on this podcast is about how dialed in can you be? And we are trying to remove every little negative aspect. Me and Paul feel, and a lot of others feel, that our body should be in perfect harmony. So what we are trying to preach here is that anything that disrupts that harmony, anything, even if it's 0.5% negative to your body, even if it's 0.1%, we are trying to remove every excuse that your body has to fight something else off to start operating on an optimal level. That's what we are preaching here. We're not here to be like, oh yeah, it's not that bad. No, that's not what we're here for. We are here to promote every single thing that pushes you in an optimal direction. We want you as dialed in as possible, whether it's food, whether it's not eating processed stuff, even though a preservative in your bread, it's not that big of a deal. I've been doing this for 8 years, bro. 8 years. And I see time after time after time, because it's statements like that. It creates like a window for people to be like, oh, it's not that big of a deal. And when that one thing is not that big of a deal, the next thing is not that big of a deal. And then the next thing, oh, well, I'm only drinking 2 times a week. Okay, great. Now I only eat seed oil 3 times a week. Okay? I only eat bread with preservatives in there 2 times a week. And then the peanut butter that I'm, I'm getting more seed oil in it. It doesn't turn into kind of doing it. It's being done every day. And I see the pain that people are in every day. I see it every day. A lot of these people are seeing that the end of that path. I'm seeing people come to me who are going to these outlets and they're still not getting the help that they're getting and improving, because we have to get away from being mediocre. It's really that simple. Like we have to set the standard the same way that we're being educated on. You're going to go through high school, Paul, and then you're going to finish high school and you're going to go and get an education. And it is a non-negotiable. You're going to go and get your diploma, because we want to make sure you have the best path to success for your career so you can have a job. We need to be doing that same thing for health all of the time. It needs to be a non-negotiable. Yeah, every now and then we're gonna snack on things. We're gonna consume things that aren't the end of the world. But the more that we keep minimizing that it's not the end of the world, it's just gonna completely be part of our lifestyle still, and that's what I still see. So I just want to remind everyone why me and Paul are here and what we're trying to promote, and it's that anyone who is looking to lean into this type of lifestyle with eating and exercising as on point as you possibly can, so if you have cancer, right, it's as hard as possible for cancer to beat you. We're trying to make your body an insane defense system at all costs. Now, a lot of these people that say this stuff to me, this is the problem that I found in my education. You get so stuck on going on PubMed and reading research studies that you never go out there. You stand on your deck and look out into the world, but you never get off your deck and go do it and feel it for yourself. And all the people that I get this type of feedback from
are people who are not dialed in.
They're not. You don't know. You can't speak on. You can't speak on that. You know what it's like for 3 months straight to not consume garbage seed oil. You can't. You can't talk to me about. You know what it's like to be perfectly hydrated every day. You can't tell me that you know what it's like to exercise the right amount 5 days a week and do that for 3 months straight while eating really, really clean food, working on your sleep recovery, working on being emotionally happier and communicating better at home. You can't tell me what that feels like. It's like we're all sitting there waiting for Tufts University and Cornell and Harvard to tell you that it's okay that to eat seed oil. We have to stop doing that. You have to go out there and experience things for yourself. It's the same thing I said for you about your journey. It's like I can say things till I'm blue in the face. It's going to go in through one ear, and it's going to go throughout the other ear, unless you decide that when I showed you that creek where the water was, that you have to decide to drink it. I cannot make you drink it. But people are talking about things that they have never experienced before. And I think that is like the one thing that I truly learned in my 8 years of working with people and training people, that I find insane success that when people feel this stuff for themselves, they don't need a research study to tell them. I feel a lot better when I'm not consuming the 89 things that we talked about on episode 2 or episode 3. Whether it's an additive that's a plant fiber, right? Or it's not. So that's what I wanted to get across, that what we're doing and what we plan on doing moving forward is that we're trying to speak to an audience of people that are trying to now dial in every single component to how clean they can possibly eat, how they can exercise, their emotional happiness, sleep recovery. That's what we're here to do. That's who we're speaking to. If you don't, you're not all in on that, that's your journey. That's your path. But me and Paul, we're speaking to people that they want to remove every negative aspect as much as possible in their life so they can be as healthy as possible. That's what we're here for. And I just wanted to get that across because I've been engaging in these conversations, and I'm just like, I've been doing this for 8 years, working with people one-on-one. I'm not working with people when they're at the end and, I'm going to sit there and be like, yeah, you know what? Your heart is clogged. No, I'm trying to, what if people don't have resources? What if all they have is what they can eat at home? What if all they don't have a gym to go to? So they have one kettlebell in their house. I'm trying to stop people from getting to the end of that path and get to them at the beginning and fix all of that for them. And I've been doing it for 8 years, and I know how my gut feels. I know how the flock of people that I've worked with in the past 8 years, I know how they feel removing preservatives, food dyes, anything added that shouldn't be in there, fillers, right? I do it myself. I know what it feels like. So I think people need to start experiencing things for themselves and then give an opinion, because we're in this age right now where we go online and we have to kind of like wait for confirmation on, oh, should I believe in this or should I believe in that? People, you want to listen to a podcast like this, you take it with a grain of salt, and then you go and try things on your own. You're not going to be perfect at squatting right now. You're not going to be perfect at cooking right now. You want to know how I learned how to cook? Just practicing it. I just did it. You know how many times I messed up? You know how many times I overcooked my steak? How many times I undercooked my steak? How many times I've overcooked vegetables, put too much oil on it, oversalted my food? The only way you understand this stuff is by doing it day in and day out, and trying to dial in and fine tune what works for you personally. And, I think people get a little like scared that, we're, fear mongering sometimes. We're not trying to fear monger. We're trying to make it a non-negotiable that anything that is not positive for your body shouldn't be going in your body. And we're doing that because sometimes it's going to go into your body. So we're trying to remove and limit that as much as possible. So 98% of the year, you can be like, no, I eat clean. And then 2% of the year, I have a beer. I have a wine. I went down to the city and I went down to Bryant Park and got a whole bunch of fried French fries that were probably fried in canola oil for the evening. You know what I mean? It's not the end of the world. But we have to get away from... And my friend said this when I just said what I said to him. You know what he said? And it disappointed me. And I can't wait for him to listen to this. He said it's impossible. You're never going to change people. We are never, ever, ever going to change the trajectory of our health. And I get emotional about this stuff now, dude, because it's not just me anymore. I have a daughter. And I look at her, and it drives me crazy that someone possibly would say that to her. That, you're not going to... No, just settle. Just sit there and sit back and eat eat seed oil, eat stuff with bad stuff in it. That doesn't sit right with me. And that's what I think, we're doing here on this podcast, is that it's a non-negotiable. It's not impossible. It might have been, you might have thought it was impossible 5-6 months ago. Oh no, I'm just gonna be in this shape forever. You know what I mean? That's bullshit. You know what I mean? We need to aim at being optimal. Like Michael Jordan didn't hit, during his workout 1,000 shots and he only hit 800, and he said, "Oh, I'm never gonna make more than 800 shots." He said, "Tomorrow, how am I gonna make 805? How am I going to make 900? How am I going to make 901, 902, 903? You know what I mean? So that impossible shit, we're never going to change if we think like that. We have to change the trajectory of how we're looking at all this stuff. I told him, I'm like, we're down at halftime by 30 points, and we're at halftime, and the head coach is basically saying, no, this is the offense we got. It's impossible to do anything else. We just got to keep running the same offense, and hopefully we catch back up. No, dude, we have to change that standard that we have, and that's what we're speaking about on here. That we're trying to change that standard. That everything, even if it's the most minuscule negative effect, we're trying to take it away out of the body. So I just wanted to get that.
Boom.
Yeah.
Boom. Thank you for that fire rant. Take a breather.
Fire.
Take a breathe. Take a sip of coffee. Hydrate. Woo! I wasn't sure where he was going with that. I loved where he finished and where we ended. Just everything about it was transformative. So,
no, and I love these people, and I get, I get a lot of people are trying to be careful with the message that they're trying to give to people, that they're trying to promote to people. But I see, for the past 8 years, I see several people several days a week, 3 times, 4 times, 5 times a week. I'm spending every day with these people. And some people really lean into the process, and they're sending me their food 24/7. So I'm seeing what's going in their body 24/7. There's no lying. I know exactly what's going in and what's going out. I do this every day. I don't care what a research study says. I don't give a shit, because I see it every day and I do it every day, and I see the health, where it goes when people follow this type of lifestyle. It's really that simple. And when I ask people this, yeah, but do you know what it's like? Do you know what it's like to remove seed oil from your diet? No, you don't. So you could talk about that stuff all you want. Oh, there's no research on it yet. You do not know what it feels like. And until Stanford, whatever school, Harvard, Cornell, Columbia, until they give you the okay, oh yeah, seed oils are actually really, really bad, you'll be sitting there and waiting for that forever. And that's always how I felt, dude, where I was at when I was in college, because I was bodybuilding. Everyone was like sitting in class waiting for the professor to say, this is what you do, and this is what you do, and this is what you do, right? I was taking that stuff and I was living and breathing it when I was doing bodybuilding. Carbs, fats, protein, calories. I went through having gut issues, a lot of bad acid reflux. I was eating a whole bunch of like dirty stuff all the time. I wasn't really eating as clean as I thought I was. And everyone knew that I was the guy. Yeah, Mark's really like doing that stuff every single day. And since then, I have just taken it to a whole other level each and every year with how clean can I possibly eat. And I know what it feels like. And I associate myself with people. Shout out to Chris King, shout out to his girlfriend, Dana. We live and breathe this shit, and we know what it feels like. And we're trying to give that to people. And by people sitting there saying, oh, it's impossible. No, that stuff, it's not really shown that stuff is the problem. Live and breathe it, and then come back and have this conversation with me. Because by you saying that, you're giving people an out to keep doing what they're currently doing, and we have to change what we are currently doing. Like, look around. I'm tired of looking around at people that I love, people that are close to me. I'm tired of seeing medication. I'm tired of seeing that the only way people can get through their day and night is by taking Tylenol every night. I'm tired of seeing it. You know what I mean? You don't need that stuff. And you're never going to know what that's like until you even just try removing the toxicity that we're constantly putting in our body every single day.
Couple breakdowns on your rant. Me and you are dialed in.
Yeah.
Like, there's no doubt about it, and we're here to inspire others. And we're here to inspire you to make health number one on the list. It's not even close to being number one on most people's lists. So that's number one. We're here to help guide you in that path. You deserve to feel amazing. If you feel mediocre, if you don't feel amazing, there's something that could be improved on. There's other areas of your life that you need to dial in. So we don't want you to feel mediocre. If you do have pain, if you do have stress, if you have issues with relationships, there's growth to be had. So we want to help guide you in those areas. Another thing that you said is, don't take advice from people that aren't doing it.
Yeah.
Right? One thing with Crown Refs, and people ask me if I still ref, and I kind of laugh in the back of my mind. But of course I do. I would not have a training platform if I wasn't fully in it.
Yeah.
I'm not retired. I'm not 15 years removed from it. I don't do it anymore. I need that pulse of the game to be able to guide others, right? So when you're looking for, and that's why mentorship is so important. You want to get advice and hear the experiences from the people that are doing it, right? So we want the listener to know that we're dialed in, we're locked in, and that's very important, right? So not taking advice from people that aren't doing it. I heard you talking about eliminating people's excuses, which is huge. Everybody has an excuse, and it's important for us to get up here and share what has worked for us, and that's what we're trying to do. And just as far as the fear part, I have no relationship with fear. I never even heard of fear mongering till like last year as an internet word. Mm-hmm. I don't lead with fear. I don't believe in fear. So many people are sharing and spreading it, communicating with fear. I have 0% in my life. So, you know, if we're trying to tell you, you probably shouldn't eat this food, that's not us trying to scare you. It's just us giving you best practices, right?
Yep.
So just a couple follow-up thoughts. And we're here to set that bar.
Yeah.
Like, we got to inspire people by setting that nutritional bar. When I talked about winning the holidays, it's important for at least, I bet you one person heard that. And the next holiday they have, just by me saying it and them hearing my story, it gives them permission and that launching pad.
Dude, we're just, we have to stop like waiting, and like that like it's a new year, so this always kickstarts everyone, and it kickstarts everyone because everyone's been waiting the past 3 months. And what are we waiting for? Oh, it's Thanksgiving. Oh, it's the holidays. It's Christmas time, right? Oh, it's the new year. Here we go, right? We have to stop waiting. Like, we're just constantly doing it. It's like an excuse after an excuse, and I find that, and it's not anyone's fault. It's the fault of people who are really educated in this stuff, sitting there, and they're more worried about rubbing someone's back and saying everything that is emotionally right to them, right? Rather than being like, listen, for 365 days out of the year, you're consuming all of this stuff constantly. Like, it has to be a non-negotiable. It's not like we're not doing what we talked about. We're not doing moderation. It's not moderation. I see it every day. You know, like, a lot of these people, like, they're seeing people for 45 minutes, right, to do a test. Dude, I'm seeing these people 3, 4, 5 hours a week, every single day for a year. I have people with me that have been with me for 6 years. I have seen the habits of people for 6 straight years. What happens when they do this? What happens when they do this? This is positive. This is negative. This is negative. This is positive. I see it. We have to stop with excuses and being subpar and being mediocre and being average and being like, oh, well, I'm not an athlete. I'm not Michael Jordan. I'm not Tom Brady. I'm not Serena Williams. Oh, no, I'm not going to operate on that level.
Don't have limiting beliefs.
Yeah, dude. Like, we have to stop. We have to, at all times, everywhere, in relationships, how you're communicating with people, your health, be as best as you can at it, as best as you can. So that way, when you're 50, 60, 70, you don't have to go and take a test and be like, I wonder what this test is going to say. Is my do I have, you know, a clogged artery? Do I have other things going on? We're trying to give the best path at preventing that. That's what we're trying to do. We're not here to fearmonger. We're not trying to scare you into like, oh, your health is ruined next week because you had, you know, French fries at McDonald's. You know what I mean? We're not sitting there saying that. But if we sit there and just keep minimizing it, we're just going to keep doing that. And it's not going to be a big deal. And you're never going to like strive to maybe trying to do it like, you know, me, Paul, and some of the people that are around me, some of my clients, you know, like what we're trying to do. That's all, you know, we're trying to like get at. You know what I mean? We're not trying to, I'm not trying to promote you to be unhealthy. I'm trying to promote to you being as happy and healthy all of the time. And I know what that feels like. I know how I feel. Everyone's not the same. I get that. I think people, you know, they will listen to our conversation. You know, we're sitting here, we're talking, bullshitting. You know, I've talked about that with you. What you do is not going to be what I'm doing. What I do is not going to be what necessarily that you're doing. We're going to be doing different things. We're going to have a different path at getting to the goal that we're aiming for. And I think it's important for people to know that. And I think, listen, why we have this platform, reach out to us. Ask us. You know what I mean? Especially like ask me this stuff. This is what I do. I do this for a living. I'm not trying to generalize everyone's health. And I've been doing that for 8 years. I don't generalize anyone's health. People come in to me, and I know everyone is a different animal. Someone's an elephant, someone's a fish, someone's a cheetah, someone's a lion, someone's an ape. And I know everyone needs different things. And it's my job to find what is personalized that works for you. And we have to get to that. We have to stop generalizing. Oh, well, they all said that seed oil is not that bad for everyone. Stop talking about everyone. Everyone is different. The way that the type of food that your child needs is different than what my child is going to need. Everyone's different. Everyone's genetically different. But it's my job to give you the best personalized blueprint at being as healthy as you possibly can. That's my job. But people reach out, ask, and that's what this is about, talking about this stuff. We're not here to just generally say, everyone eat 200 grams of protein a day. That's not what we're getting at. We're trying to teach you this is what happens when you do this type of stuff, and this is what it's doing. That's all we're trying to do.
You can reach out to us at the dialedinpodcast@gmail.com. I got to give you your account credentials, by the way. So we haven't got any emails yet, though, but I want you to be able to respond too. It's funny, as I get deeper into the health and wellness space, I realize that most people are not.
Yeah.
I realize most people are not nearly as interested in it or as educated in it. But the good part about that is there's so much room for improvement.
Yeah.
Like there's so much of an opportunity and a land grab, I think, to promote that kind of stuff.
I think there's basically like these two groups, these two camps, and like one is like the people look at and it's like the crutch. They're like, oh, that Mark's an athlete. He's a trainer, right? So you get a lot of like these athlete type people that are burning an enormous amount of calories and exercising a lot. So they can kind of get away with a lot of the things that we're talking about. And really, and I think we should touch on this, a big problem with health, it's really simple. We're just consuming way too much compared to how much are we actually burning. So if you have all this leftover energy in your body and you're not burning it off, that's really where you start to see the problem arise. Like that's the problem. It's that we have extra energy built up sitting in our body and it's getting stored, turning into fat, and it's just sitting there. So the people who are active, they're burning all of that off. It's like the video and you see the boxer Floyd Mayweather and he's training, and in the middle of his training he's drinking Mountain Dew. He can get away with that during that moment. He's burning so much energy that his body is so depleted that sugar and that green dye that he's drinking, his body's incinerating it like that. And that's another thing. Our body operates very differently during exercise if you're very active than when you're sitting at home. When you're sitting at home, watching Netflix, for example. So, I just think it's important to understand that we get these two camps where it's the athlete, that kind of minimizes the kind of like the ingredient type stuff because they can get away with it because they're burning so much. But, then there's the other party where, they're not as active, they're sitting. That's what we're trying to talk about this stuff for, because if you're not exercising, you're not burning energy off, and you're consuming all of this toxic type stuff, that stuff is sitting in your body. The guy I follow, Ido Portal, I love his whole method, everything that it's about. That's primarily what I do with people when I'm training with people. He uses the most beautiful analogy, and he says, just look at water. And he said, get an empty glass and go get a cup of water out of a pond. He said it's disgusting. Because the water is so still and it's never moving, it attracts bacteria, algae. It attracts garbage. It attracts toxicity. He said, all right, now go to a river or a stream that is in constant motion. Take the glass, put it in the water, and watch how clear the water is. You don't see one speck of anything in it because it's in constant motion. Because it's in constant motion, it never has time to attract shit. So that's what I try to explain to people about, like, moving their body, and whether that's through like constantly eating really good nutrients, like constantly moving and putting new nutrients in your body, and constantly exercising. You're never giving your body a moment to just sit still and attract garbage, attract pain, attract hardened tissue, attract, fascia issues in your body, right? So that's the analogy he uses, like keep moving and it solves a lot of your problems.
Sorry to interrupt the podcast. Just wanted to thank you for being here and joining us on this journey. The fact that you're here shows your commitment to your own transformation, and that's something you should celebrate. We're here to help you every step of the way, and we want to hear from you. So if you have questions or thoughts or breakthroughs that you want to share, reach out to us directly at the dialedinpodcast@gmail.com or hit us up on any one of your socials. Now, let's get back to the podcast. I was in the barbershop yesterday waiting for my turn to get a haircut, and I hear a guy say health. My eyes just light up. I thought of you in the video where I added all the calculations as you're processing, looking at food. But my antennas went up. I'm like, what are they talking about? Yep. What is his best practices? What is he doing for? Like, I just wanted to hear. I wanted to be able to audit what they were doing. I didn't hear anything after that. But I was just like, boom, I'm in it.
Yeah.
I'm in this. I feel the change, in my life. And hey, I got a new segment of the show. It's called Paulie D's Nutritious Nuggets. You want to hear one?
Yes, I do.
All right, here's your nutritious nugget of the day.
Are these nuggets clean?
The cleanest.
The cleanest. Okay, go.
Food is a tool. That's the nugget of the day. Food is a tool. Let's start thinking of food as tools in your life toolbox. The world is filled with tools. Some are constructive, while some others are downright destructive. The real question is, what are you reaching for in your toolbox? Are you grabbing a sleek, sharp hammer ready to build something incredible? Or are you fumbling for a rusty, bent nail that's going to break the moment you try to use it? Here's how it works. Good tools, think of them as organic foods, better sourced ingredients. Those are your high quality power tools. They're the heavy-duty drills, the pristine wrenches that can construct a sturdy foundation for your health. Fresh fruit or vegetables. Those are the screwdrivers that fit just right, tightening everything up in your system and keeping things in place. The bad tools, the processed foods, that's like reaching for a rusty wrench that's too weak to tighten a bolt. Added sugars, that's the equivalent of grabbing duct tape instead of proper screws. It might hold for a second, but it's not going to support the weight of real challenges and change. Fast food, bread, those are the chip screwdrivers that makes you want to throw the whole project out the window. When we eat processed and synthetic ingredients, as if we're picking up broken saws and dusty screws. They might look like tools, but they're not helping you build anything meaningful. So when you reach for whole foods, you're selecting the precision instruments designed to build something strong, resilient, and lasting. So the next time you're about to eat, pause, ask yourself, am I grabbing the tool that's going to help me build stronger, or am I setting myself up for a collapse? When you choose the high-quality, clean foods, you're constructing a health masterpiece that will stand the test of time. So let's fill our toolboxes with the right gear and start building a body and life that we're proud of.
Beautiful. What a nugget. I want a 20-piece Paulie D. I want a 20-piece Paulie D nugget.
Each episode hopefully can have like at least one. A 20-piece, I may have to charge extra for that.
Maybe we'll get sponsored. Maybe they'll make a clean nugget at McDonald's called the Paulie D's Nuggets.
Fried and beef towel.
Hey, I'd be first in line. Yeah, I'd be first in line.
Let's stay here. Talking about fried food, like a fried chip, right?
Yeah.
Claudia had the fried avocado oil chips, which I have in my house. They're better sourced because it's avocado oil, but still, the process of frying something, that's calorically pretty too dense, too much fat, no?
Where the issue is that there's omega-9, omega-6, omega-3, with triglycerides and so there's like these chains of fat, and when they get put under high heat, anything that you put under high heat, take ice, add heat to it. It manipulates, its structure. It goes from being a solid to turning into a liquid. If you keep heating it up, it'll turn into a gas. So you start to manipulate its molecular structure. So that's kind of the premise of things that are fried and so with things that are processed, like the oils that we were talking about, seed oils, they're being processed under extremely high heat, right? So now that's one, boom, step one, it's been under high heat. Then it gets back, now it's in the bottle. Then it's, back at your house. Now or it's at a restaurant, and they're gonna dump all of it and put it in the fryer. It's being blasted, high heat. You're changing that structure again. So something that in its natural form is now being loosely manipulated, where it's not that exact real thing anymore. So that's kind of the premise of when you start frying things, that it starts manipulating it. And that's when you're kind of trying to like pay attention to, you know, smoking points on oil. You know, that's why like olive oil is great, right? Olive oil is outstanding. But like other oils, it loses a lot of the benefits that it has if you burn it. And that's with any oil. It's just that olive oil is a nice sourced, you know, fat, usually of how it's being, you know, sourced in comparison to soybeans, for example. You know, the process is much different. You know, I would have to check. I would assume that the process of getting soybean oil is much different than getting olive oil out in, you know, Italy somewhere or wherever it may be, wherever there's an, you know, an olive tree farm. But that's really the premise of oils being fried. It's that we're manipulating, and this is with any macro in general, but we're manipulating the structure, and usually it comes at the expense of ruining the omega-3 consumption, and it starts becoming this really high omega-6 consumption constantly, and that's where the problem starts to arise. Yeah.
So although beef tallow and avocado oil would represent smarter snacking, it doesn't mean that the process of frying, that's not dialed in, right? Like
you're saying that frying in general
is not a cooking technique that we really want.
No, you're taking a whole bunch of fat, manipulating it, and it's probably now soaking whatever it is that you're cooking it in. You know, at home we're doing nice thin chicken cutlets, right? Or you know, during the holidays we're doing you
bang on those chicken cutlets,
yeah,
right, to thin them out. I don't do that enough with my chicken. Always tastes better that way.
I used to not do it, and the past 2 times that I did do it, I banged them up, and it's a huge difference. You're tenderizing them.
Sure.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, fried is definitely not as good.
Right.
And really, we're a big the association is, if me and you are not frying oil and we're taking olive oil and putting it on our salad, right? We're maybe going to put like 2, 3, let's just get crazy, 6 tablespoons of oil, right? But if you fry with oil,
Got a gallon.
right? So it's also about, and I think this is good that we're talking about this, is that it's not just, that it's fried oil. It's the correlation of that you're probably most likely not only eating 1 chicken cutlet or eating 2 French fries when you're frying it in oil. You're most likely now getting oil that's been manipulated and eating 1,000 to 1,500 calories of food because it's Super Bowl and you wanted to fry wings and you wanted to make homemade French fries, but you fried them. So it's also the association with that. We're consuming a large amount of calories when cooking with that type of process. No one's frying a whole bunch of no one's frying 50 wings during Super Bowl to be like, everyone's getting 1 wing. That's it. You're frying.
We have a 1 wing max.
Yeah, a 1 wing. That'd be you and me. Everyone hit your portions. You know. So it's really that association that like when the frying comes out, you're making large amounts of food and you're over consuming calories. So, and this is the conversation I got in with my friend. He's like,
can your friend just go away?
I'm gonna no. We're gonna bring him on here.
We are? Okay,
Yeah.
cool.
We're gonna
Can't
bring him
wait.
on. No, but he makes a good point. Is that, you know, it was like I was saying to you about the hydrogen water, for example, right? It's like you're like, I feel great in the hydrogen water, right? But what if, because you're drinking hydrogen water now, naturally, because you're paying attention to how clean is your food. You're not overeating. You're paying attention. You bought a Whoop, and you're looking at your readiness score for your sleep recovery.
So one good habit triggers the next.
Exactly. So that's what it is. And then it's vice versa. One bad habit turns into 10 other bad habits, which is, when I fry chicken cutlets, I also buy preservative-filled seeded Bastogne from the grocery store, and I get mozzarella, and I get nitrate-filled prosciutto and put it on my sandwich, and I get pesto, and now I'm eating a 1,500 calorie sandwich with fried chicken cutlets on it. That's the problem.
We want to stack good habits. Like
Yes.
I heard you talking about one of the last episodes. It's not just doing one thing. The more positive, checks you can put on your board, the higher chance you have of reaching that wellness breakthrough that you might want.
Yeah, correct.
I think we should talk about fitness and reframing people's mindset with regards to like off days.
Awesome.
Great. Because I'm at a point in my life I want to work out every day.
Yeah.
I haven't always been like this. It's been a lot of different levels of it, different interests, different efforts. But like training yourself, going to the gym is loving yourself, taking care of your body that day. Why would we take days off of that? Like, why do we, Monday's my day to work out and Tuesday I'm off and then Wednesday. I don't think we should even think like that. I think it should be every day we should be doing something movement-wise, whether it's active recovery, whether it's going on a walk, whether it's doing yoga. But there should be no off days. What are your thoughts on that?
I completely agree. One of the components that the movement method and Ido Portal and his students, what they're preaching and promoting, we can kind of blame Arnold for this a little bit, that whole bodybuilding Gold's Gym way of associating exercise with like your health and like how you look. Everything has become transactional in health and fitness, and it's the transaction is, I have to work today, and then you know what, I'm gonna go to the gym for 1 hour and I have to do 5 sets of 10 reps of these exercises, and then that's it, that I'm done. We're doing this stuff for a result too much. Like you're almost aiming for something that is it's too superficial. And in the movement method, they're all about that you're trying to warp this into your lifestyle. And when you can change that, of looking at it in that concept that this is your lifestyle, there is no off day. And I think we've become too white and black and white with how we look at it. And it's like, no, I work out 5 days a week, and then I need 2 days of rest. There's no, there doesn't need to be, the reason why people are saying they need to rest is because everything is about, I'm either killing my body in the gym or I'm not.
It's one or the other, on or off.
It's on or off. You can go into the gym and maybe your intensity's not there today. You can work on doing a yoga flow, doing a movement flow, doing maybe more FRC type, which is called functional range conditioning. It's like a lot of this mobility work. You can go into the gym for an hour and a half or an hour or 45 minutes or 30 minutes or 15 minutes while you're at home. Sometimes I do that. I put something on and I sit in a 90-90 position and I'm just like lifting my leg and trying to get like my hips to work. It needs to be more about a lifestyle and not this transactional thing that I have to work out 5 days this week just so I can rest for 2 days. It's too superficial. It's like you're trying to, it's like this bad superficial relationship that we have with it. And it shouldn't be about that. It should be about, I'm going to work out for 5 days this week. And you know what? Saturday, I'm just going to go walk. I can actively rest. We can do that. You can rest actively by, it's one of the things that I talked to you about that like I want to start like, I want you to start experiencing is sitting.
Deep squatting while watching.
The deep squat, like sitting in a deep squat with your eyes closed and not moving. Not moving is moving.
I know you had me do this once. It was challenging.
Yeah.
You had me close my eyes. I forget the move we did. Actually, what was that exactly? It was at
I don't remember if I had you lay down. I don't remember.
It was 5 minutes, eyes closed.
I think I might have had your legs up on the on the wall. I don't know. I did that with some clients. I lay them down on a mat and put their legs up to the wall.
I was upright.
Okay. And I try to show people, because this is something that, you know, I've learned and I have not mastered this in any way, shape, or form. It's something that I need to work on, is we're so stimulated all the time that one of the best ways of actively recovering is through stillness. And the reason why is when you shut your eyes and stop being stimulated by everything, and I mean literally don't move. Like, don't move your finger. And I say that because you're going to move your finger. You're gonna, you're going to feel your body screaming inside that it just wants to be stimulated by something. Oh, I'm going to move my finger. And now you're thinking about, oh, I'm moving my finger now. I'm moving my foot. What color shorts am I wearing today? What time do I have to go eat tonight? It's a lot harder than people think. And it's a good way at actively recovering without adding physical stress onto your body and learning about how your mind is constantly being, stimulated by something. So there doesn't need to be off days. It's just I got to speak that lingo with people sometimes just so I'm not overwhelming them. But we should be moving every day, and it should just be high intensity and then extremely low intensity, and that's your recovery. It doesn't need to it's like we're doing these 5 workouts, dude, to be on Saturday, Sunday, I'm just going to sit down on the couch, watch TV from 8 to 9 p.m. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. You can rest by, I don't know, going for a 3-mile hike. Maybe it's only 30 minutes, but still, you know what I mean? We have to get away from being transactional, I think, with fitness. And I think that's what that point touches on. We have to be a little bit more, it's just a lifestyle. It doesn't need to be a workout all the time. I have rings at my house. I walk by them and I hang on them. I walk by my daughter and I sit in a deep squat. You know what I mean? Little things like that. And the movement method really preaches that. Make it a lifestyle.
Consistency over intensity. Your body thrives on consistency.
Yeah.
Movement is like fuel for your body, your mind, and your spirit. It doesn't always have to be in high octane workout. It just has to be something. So by reframing off days, you're showing yourself that health and wellness isn't about the days you're in the gym. It's about what you do every day to honor and care for your body.
I think one of the things that I've learned doing the movement approach, they're trying to promote you getting off of the mat and staying in one place, or being on the bar and just only squatting, a barbell or, a kettlebell or whatever. They're trying to get you to engage with your environment much more. And, I got really into rock climbing. Then I went down that rabbit hole. I watched the documentary with Alex Honnold where he free solos Yosemite. He has no rope on. He practices it for 7 years, every spot in Yosemite. And he did I think it's a 2.5 or 3.5 hour climb up Yosemite with no rope on. And he had to practice it for 7 years. It's one of the most nerve-wracking things you ever watch. And I'll say that when you do something that is not, I'm going into the gym and I'm doing 5 pull-ups and I'm doing my ab exercise and I'm doing this. When you do things that require your full attention, you don't have a choice but to be fully present in what you're doing. And I think that's really important. I think a lot of people are going to exercise and going to work out, and they're not really truly present with themselves and what they're doing. I've talked about it, with you sometimes. Really, and it's hard because you come into the gym so much, so it's the same. It's like the Twilight Zone, doing the same thing every day. It's hard to really engage in it, but I try to explain to people, and I think when you do things that are a little bit more fun, rock climbing, hiking, jiu-jitsu. Think about when you're on a hike, and you go on a hike and you're seeing everything. You're not really thinking about anything else. You're present in that moment. You're watching so you don't trip, on a rock and then bang your elbow on a rock because, you're not walking on flat pavement anymore. So I think it's important that we start to aim at being more present during physical activity. So I think it's good for people to find something that they have fun doing. And maybe coming to the gym and using kettlebells is not going to be fun for everyone. So, that's why I like rock climbing. I just started doing jiu-jitsu again. And it's when I'm doing that, I'm not thinking about anything else but that this guy is trying to put me in an arm bar. Or when I'm rock climbing, I'm not thinking about anything else when I'm up on that wall. All I'm thinking about is I got to get to the next hold so I don't fall. So I just don't want to fall, So, I think we need to start paying attention to that a little bit more. Just being present with their health and what they're doing and why they're doing it.
Speaking of rock climbing or hiking, I went recently on a little weekend escape with my wife. We went to the Catskill Mountains and we went hiking. It's my first time I went to Breakneck I used to go to Breakneck Mountain a lot in Beacon.
Breakneck's awesome.
Yeah, it's great. I don't think it's not as big a mountain as Catskills, obviously. So it's my first time up, really feeling like that mountain feel, and I loved it. I got to be honest with you. I was telling my wife how much I enjoyed it. Normally, our vacations are all-inclusive vacation, beach destinations. So this is like our first real active trip. But now I want to go to like Washington State or Colorado or really start scratching that itch of hiking. It was fun.
Yeah, the national parks. When my wife was she was 3 months pregnant, we went to Yosemite. You know, we're all like, you know, her belly wasn't like there yet, and we're like, yeah, we're going to Yosemite. We're gonna do all these hikes, dude. The first day of hikes that we did, I don't know. We did like I gotta look at my app. We did like 1,800 or something, or 2,000 feet like elevation climb. The total hike was like 9 miles. It was so beautiful, but it was, talk about a workout. And like, you didn't need to be in a gym to, you know, like go do that. And it was so beautiful, man. And I'll never forget, we like do the whole hike and we're fighting. We're fighting for our lives. We're like, we got to get back. Like, this is rough. We were supposed to go around the whole loop. And when we got to the top, the path was closed off based on like rocks falling really bad. So we had to turn around and go back the other way. So it was a super long hike. And, you know, we flew to California to go see this park and do a whole bunch of hikes. And I'll never forget, because I knew how I felt on that way down that mountain. My wife being like, yeah, where are we going to like hike tomorrow? And I'm like, honey, there's no way we're hiking tomorrow. Like, we're going to feel this tomorrow. And the next day we woke up, our feet were all, you know, roughed up. But yeah, hiking like that is really beautiful. When you see those national parks, man, it's like, whoa.
There was one stretch of the mountain. It was like 200 steps.
Yeah.
I sprinted up the steps. I was jumping from step to step like I was doing plyometrics.
Yep. That's like the like Huberman was talking about this. He has almost like a method, and one of the days is basically just putting like a light like 10, 15 pound vest on and trying to incorporate some sort of incline type hike walking. And that, like, how tremendous it is. I kind of make you do it at the gym with the ball and the treadmill. You know, everyone thinks it's, like, super easy. I'm like, all right, 3 minutes. You're going to hold this 20-pound ball, and you're going to walk on 15% incline. You're just going to walk. And usually by, like, halfway, they're like, wow, this is pretty rough. But walking, even in a slight incline, is, like, if you can expose yourself to that, it is truly, like, really healthy for you. It really exposes your heart to some, you know, hard physical activity. It's really, really good.
All right, I want you to pick and choose between creatine or amino acids. Just say one of them. Creatine or amino acids?
Aminos.
Okay, great. I just bought a new product called Perfect Amino. Essential amino acids optimized for maximum utilization, contains nucleic building blocks.
Shout out to Demetrius. I work with Demetrius. He taught me a few lessons in jiu-jitsu the hard way. I had to learn the hard way. He was just talking about the supplement too. He has
there you
it.
go.
Yeah.
Way to get your shout outs in and connected with the product I'm talking about. Now, this is telling me I can eat this and I'm getting 30 grams of protein and no calories.
I gotta
break this down.
Let me break that down.
I mean, I bought it immediately. Hold on. I clicked and added it to cart so quickly.
No, you're not. No, you're getting. No, there's 30 servings in this. Where did you see?
I'm being told that's 0 calories, but you're still consuming 30 grams worth of protein.
No.
Mark's analyzing. He's scanning.
Provide 5 grams.
Putting it through his prompt.
Comparable to dietary protein.
Mark GPT.
No, they're basically saying that with this type of amino acid profile that you're getting, it mimics that if you were to have 29 grams of whey, soy, dairy, or nut protein, or it mimics you having 15 grams of meat, poultry, or fish. So it's saying that this exact serving of the amino acid profile would be similar to if you ate 15 grams of meat or poultry
From
or
an
fish.
amino acid perspective?
Yeah. So how amino acids work, the best way I explain to it is that one protein, it's a like a protein is a polypeptide, it's called. Yeah, and it's the ladder. And that ladder is 10 feet tall. So that ladder is going to have 10 pegs on it, 10 steps. So you can climb up to the top of your house and put your holiday, lights on your roof, right? You have 10 pegs. Those pegs are the amino acids. So you want this really good amino acid structure. So that way your ladder is very, very firm and it has quality to it. And if you ever have to take the ladder apart, maybe you start, catabolizing and your body needs to take some polypeptides, muscle, amino acids to be broken down and be used as energy. You have a good amount of storage of these amino acids in your body that it's going to take really long because, Paul's ladder is not 10 feet, it's 20 feet. So your body has to go in and take a peg off. 19 pegs left, a peg off, 18 pegs left. So the bigger these polypeptides are, the more pegs you have on your ladder, it's harder for you to lose muscle. That's what you're trying to do. So really, you want to hear my annoying nitpick of this supplement?
I mean, you can't annoy me, so good luck.
So whenever you're getting something, you don't want to get something that... So mainly when you want amino acids to get the response that you're aiming for, studies show that you want that leucine per serving, the amino acid leucine, to be 2.5 grams per serving. So if you take 5 of these tablets, that's 1 serving. I would want to see that leucine, when you take those 5 tablets, it's at 2.5 grams. That's going to most likely activate glucagon in your body. That's what you need for that green light to go off. This gives you the proprietary blend. And it says 5 grams of all these amino acids. You and me have no idea. So really legit supplement companies will write 5 grams proprietary blend, but they'll label out 1 gram of leucine, 0.5 grams of valine, 0.3 grams of isoleucine, right? So when you see the proprietary blend and they don't label it all out, it's not the end of the world. It's just that you have no idea how much leucine you're getting. You don't know. The good thing is, like, it's first, so I'm assuming it's the most. So if I had to guess, it's probably above like that 2.5. But what I'm saying is we don't know. So that's the only thing that I nitpick at. Like when I'm getting supplements, I'm trying to make sure the money that I'm spending, the money I'm spending on my supplements, I'm getting what I want to get out of it. I just want to be sure as much as possible, because I'm going to keep buying something month after month after month. So that's all I say about that. But that's what you're aiming for when you take amino acids. So they're already broken down proteins. So rather than you consume a protein, it's going to take longer for your body to learn what you want it to do with that protein. This is already broken down. So that response will happen faster. That's why you do amino acids, really. So it's like it could be like a good pre-workout, maybe like 30 minutes, 60 minutes before you take amino acids. You don't have to wait for the whole polypeptide, the whole ladder, to be broken down and then be like, oh, we broke the ladder down. We have a whole bunch of leucine here. Can you activate glucagon for us, which gets blood sugar out so I can exercise my blood sugar off? This is quicker. That's why you use amino acids.
So you want me to take it in the morning or before I work out?
Ideally, you would want to do it before a workout. Yeah.
So you approve of that product?
I approve of the purpose of why you're intaking amino acids. If I wanted to really be devil's advocate and be like, do I know that this is 100%? And do I know that this is in the most efficient way doing what I want it to do? I wouldn't know because I don't know how much leucine is in it.
Copy that.
Per serving. Yeah. Next.
Now, the world's most studied supplement.
Yes.
I want you to talk to our female listeners. My wife just started taking creatine. Yesterday, she was like, oh, I'm not going to take it because I didn't work out. So just talk about, like, can you take it every day? Can you take it on non-workout days? So just speak to the people that have never taken creatine before.
So creatine, it gets a bad, it has gotten a bad stigma a little bit with it. I mean, I even grew up. I remember I went to go visit this guy when I was back in my hometown, and I stopped at his house, and he wasn't home. He's like an OG Navy SEAL. He's got a mohawk. He'll be in the street pulling a sled with chains around his neck. He's
got a mohawk and a mullet.
It's insane.
Two in one.
Insane. Yeah. Like the guy straight out of Rambo. And I remember getting into a huge argument with him when I was in high school because I was uneducated. And I made a stupid comment about...
Be nice to yourself.
Yeah.
Can you reframe that?
I made an inexperienced and uneducated comment.
So much better.
On creatine. And I was mentioning an athlete, how they got diverticulitis, and I said that, yeah, he was probably from all that creatine that he took. And the guy corrected me, and he got really emotional about it because I was speaking so confidently about something that I was completely uneducated in. And he was like, your body literally uses creatine as its first energy pathway. Like, that's not what's giving you that's not what's giving someone diverticulitis. Like, you need this. It's responsible for the first 15 to 20 seconds of you doing like a really explosive physical activity. And I went to try to go to his house and knock on his door after, this has to be 9 years later, 10 years later, to apologize to him, to say I was very uneducated in this topic of discussion and I wanted to apologize. Being educated in this world now, you were very right and I was very, very wrong. But, you know, it gets a lot of bad stigma because creatine holds water very, very well. It's very, like, it attracts water. So people associate that with, like, kidney and, like, dehydration in the kidney. There can be cases like that, but I mean, from what I've seen, it's just very extreme situations. Like, you're very dehydrated and you're, like, over consuming creatine supplements. When you eat meat, steak, you're getting creatine. Creatine is very beneficial because you have 3 energy systems. You have phosphocreatine, that's number 1. That's the first thing your body's trying to use. Like, if there was a fly by your head right now and you go and like swipe it, you're using creatine to like use that energy. It's meant to be a very it's very prone to fatigue. It doesn't last long, but it's very explosive with how quick it can give you energy. So it only lasts you 15 seconds. So when you're at the gym and you're doing battle ropes, that first 15 seconds on the battle ropes is being fueled by this. After 15 seconds of you going violently hard, now carb starts kicking. That's the next energy pathway. It's like glycolysis. You're trying to use carbohydrates, right? That will last you for like another 60 seconds, maybe 30 seconds, depending on how intense it is. Then once that dies out, then it goes to the next one, and that's fat. Now, when your heart rate's too high, your body cannot pull fat quick. So that's when you're doing the battle ropes for like a minute and you're like, you just want to drop and just lay on the floor. That's because you're asking your body to go to a third energy system and it can't grab fat fast enough. So it's almost like your body like runs out of like getting the carbs fast enough, and your body's like telling you like, hey, take a rest, right? So creatine is outstanding because it's that first energy system, and a lot of people are not really like eating quality protein regularly, consistently and regularly. So the idea with this, if you're active, is that you want it to be loaded up, like extra storage of creatine. So when you're doing maybe your routine on the gymnastics rings, that is super anaerobic. It is super power oriented being on those rings. You having creatine loaded up is going to make sure those first 15 seconds of you pushing and pulling on those gymnastics rings, you have the energy that you need for those first 15 to 20 seconds. Dude, that literally can determine the quality of the first 3 reps of you doing exercise. So that's where creatine comes into play. So it does hold water, and people get a little like, I think we need to get away from that. Everyone's like scared of water weight. Everyone's scared of getting on the scale and being like, oh, I'm 3 pounds heavier. Yeah. And it's really just because they ate a whole bunch of carbs the day before, so they're holding water. We have to stop getting scared of being hydrated in our body. We have to stop getting on the scale and being like, I want to see what my weight is when I'm emaciated and I have like no water in my system. That's not reality. You know what I mean? I want to see what your weight is when it's like nourished, right? So that's where the bad stigma comes with creatine. That my professor taught me that it's not just water that it's primarily like attracting. It's that it's doing a really good job at with plasma in your blood. So you have like your red blood cells and your white blood cells, and that's when you separate the blood, you see the white on top. That's your plasma. Plasma is very important at transporting other energy into like your muscle, for example, to do physical activity. So it's very associated with like also effectively transporting carbohydrates into your muscle where you need them to do physical activity. So creatine is greatly beneficial. I just think a lot of people are malnourished in a way with certain things. And I think protein is one of them. And especially if you're a young athlete who's operating on a completely different level, they should be making sure their protein intake is on point because they're going to get creatine in, or supplementing it and loading up on it. It's very beneficial. There's a lot of stuff coming out that it's even helping people cognitively. You know, now I don't want to tell people like, take the supplement. Focus on the big things first. Get it in through your diet. Then when you want to go to that next level of loading up on things, then you can start paying attention to that. But highly beneficial for young athletes. Yeah.
And you recommend it on off days too?
Yeah, you want to like load. You want to have a routine of loading up on it for like 3, 4, 5 weeks, and then taper off of it because your body will start getting used to loading up on it, and it won't like absorb it the same way. So you want to do that for 3, 4, 5 weeks, and then just take a week off, and then rinse and repeat.
I haven't taken a week off in a while. I know you used to tell me to do like 3 weeks and then 1 week
with
off.
anything that you consume consistently of, your body starts getting like used to like, oh, I'm not that sensitive to this. And this, we've talked about this: insulin sensitivity, leptin sensitivity. You know, having too much fat intake. You have too much fat intake, that hormone starts getting abused, and now you're, you know, less sensitive to, you know, the hormone leptin. That's why you don't feel full after eating like 2 slices of pizza versus 1 slice of pizza. You know what I mean? So anything that you consume constantly, your body almost gets like desensitized by it. And you just kind of like want to, this is where fasting comes into play. Like I'll tell my clients, I want you one time a month, I want you doing a 16-hour fast. Like just try it. And I'm really doing that to extend a period of time where their body's not getting anything. So it's resetting that response to everything hormonally. Leptin, insulin, glucagon, creatine intake, you know, because they didn't eat protein for 16 hours. So that's really where it comes into play. You're trying to just like give your body a break from constantly having to pack away creatine and protein and carbs and fat. You're just trying to give it a little bit of a break. The longest living organisms in the world, they move the most, but they do not move aggressively. If you look at any of the longest living things, look at a tree, they don't move a lot, but they're just constantly going like this their whole entire lives. Oysters, tortoises, anything that is in constant motion, but that's just moving lightly, those things live the longest. So the argument, and that kind of gets into what you've spoken about with fasting, is that we're constantly like giving our body, like stimulating with everything, food, technology, this and that sometimes we need to just like take a break from everything and just slow down for a second and just like close your eyes and sit still and not consume anything and just give the body a break at processing things all of the time. So that's where, you know, same thing with the creatine, like take a break from it for a week.
Okay. Yeah. What else would you like to share and empty your tank with before we drop the kids off at home?
Speaking on that point, I read something cool in this book. Phenomenal book, Burn. This book is so outstanding that I'm considering that anyone who starts to train with me moving forward has to read this book before working with me, because
it will be a requirement.
Yeah. It educates you very well on calories, like how hard it is to burn calories, how easy it is to consume calories, and kind of like what's going on with that type of process. And one of the things that I thought was really cool in the book, because I find that we get this a lot from people that like, oh, well, kids can eat whatever they want, right? Like they eat whatever they want and they don't gain weight. So did we talk about who burns more calories in one of the other episodes? Did I ask you about who do you think burns more calories, you or an orangutan?
I don't think you asked me.
I didn't? What do you think?
I like my chances 1v1.
That you burn more calories? Okay, good. You're right. No, you're
I do,
right.
yes.
Yeah. Naturally, like when I'm reading this, I'm thinking like, I mean, an orangutan, these things are huge.
It's a good matchup, Paulie versus an orangutan.
I think you'd be surprised how that matchup would go.
I don't want that smoke.
Yeah, no, they're insanely strong, those species.
What about kangaroos? Sorry to interrupt. Kangaroos are jerks, huh? They're ready to fight.
They'll throw hands for you.
Oh my God, they're jacked, huh?
Yeah.
Yo, they're dialed in.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
They're trying to like let you know too.
For
like
real.
what are you
Flexing
gonna do?
on you. What's good? What's good? What's up?
There's so many funny like videos of them fighting. But one of the things that he talks about in the book so like when I'm trying to calculate how many calories you burn a day, I really want to know like what's thermogenic in your body, and it's your muscle. Meaning the more muscle you have, the more calories you require, right? So one of the things he talks about in the book that the other stuff in your body that is extremely thermogenic are your organs, your brain, your pancreas, your liver, right? So the reason why we like a 150-pound woman burns more calories than, you know, a huge orangutan is because our organs are operating at a much larger scale than theirs. Like our brains are bigger, right? A lot of our other organs are too. So he was just emphasizing how thermogenic organs are in general. And then he started talking about children and how children per pound of body weight burn 35 calories per pound of body weight. Adults burn only 15 calories per pound of body weight. So a child is burning per pound, they're a lot smaller than us, but in terms of their scale, they're burning so many calories per pound of their body weight because their organs are developing. Their brain is constantly trying to grow, their liver, their pancreas. So children can get away with, not get away with, they benefit from consuming more energy like carbohydrates and fats. I'm just going to use those two because that's really like what fuels like them like moving around really. They can benefit from that so well because they're developing. So I think it's something to like pay attention to like with children. And it made me look at my daughter and I'm like just looking at her and I'm like, yeah, she's constantly growing. She's constantly moving. So she's doing those two things. She needs fuel constantly all of the time. Where it gets tricky with children is that because they're smaller, they shouldn't be overeating energy in one sitting. They should, as long as like that portion is right, you can keep kind of like giving them that fuel. We just don't want to overfuel them because they don't have as much storage as you and me have because they're so small. So that's really where the problem arises like with children overeating. It's just that they're so small, so it's easy to overfuel their glycogen tank because they only can hold 100 grams. Meanwhile, you can hold 400. A kid can eat 100 grams of carbs in like 8 minutes. Yeah, not even.
Their appetite is impressive. They're hungry all day.
It's survival. Their brain's like, I need to grow. I need to grow. I need to grow. I need to heal. And it's just give me more, give me more, give me more. So that's one of the downsides I would say to like, you know, when it comes to children, women who are pregnant, women who have a child and are breastfeeding, they need to be in like a caloric surplus all of the time. It just shouldn't be out of hand. It should just be like 200, 300, 400 calories surplus. But they need to be in a surplus because they're constantly developing, or a woman is constantly feeding another human, and they need to be able to give them that extra energy. So it's not good for people like that to be like, oh, I'm watching my calorie intake and I want to be at, you know, a minus 100 caloric deficit.
Yeah. Nico's not fasting.
Yeah. No.
So I'd like to think we've taken them on a journey through this episode. Now, as we wind down, let's start to bring them back home and leave them with this but I think this podcast close is about finding the love for health.
Yep.
And be mindful to not clear your throat and like sneeze, because as I'm like trying to put emotional music behind it, I just I mean, get a tissue or something, huh?
I was sick. I was fighting.
I'm glad you're better.
Yeah.
If you're not in love with something, you can't truly be dialed in. That's why our goal isn't just to talk about health, it's to inspire you to fall in love with it. When you fall in love with optimizing your health, everything changes. You start to see food not just as fuel, but as a tool. You look at movement not as a chore, but as a privilege. You begin to feel joy in every small step forward, knowing that your results are a reflection of your passion and interest. So here's our challenge to you. Find that love. Get curious about your health. Experiment, learn, grow. Make it personal, because when you're truly invested, when health becomes your passion, the results will show. Thank you so much for joining us today on this journey. We hope you leave feeling inspired to fall deeper in love with yourself and the process of becoming your best. Until next time, keep striving, stay intentional. Remember to stay dialed in. Let's do this together. And until next time, Mr. Vaccaro, don't cut me off like last time. All right, let me break down my defender. You stay in the corner, spot up. I'll dish it to you, okay? All right? Until next time, Mr. Vaccaro. I love you, bro.
I love you, bro.
I need a strong hug, too.
Yeah, strong hug.
Squeeze me, man. Come on.
Strong hug.
Yeah.
Good episode.
Yes, sir.
Thank you for listening to the Dialed In podcast. We hope you enjoyed this episode. We want to hear from you and help you even more. So please reach out and connect with us at the dialedinpodcast@gmail.com or hit us up on one of our social media accounts. And remember to stay dialed in and choose to have the most amazing rest of your day.